This moment is not random. You didn't stumble upon this by accident. You were guided here. Something deep within you already knows this. Feel it. You've always sensed you were different, that your path wasn't meant to be ordinary. That inner knowing? It's right. You were born for something greater, and that greater is unfolding now. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are chosen, marked by purpose, destined to rise while others remain asleep. Everything you've been through, the pain, the pressure, the silence, was shaping you for this exact moment. This is your turning point. The world may not have seen your light yet, but the universe has. And now, it's time for you to step fully into your power. This is your awakening. This is your rise. Let's begin. A new rhythm begins within, not as a minor shift, but as the silent ignition of an unfamiliar force. This isn't a simple change. It's the arrival of something unrecognizable, yet deeply true. An identity, no longer tethered to past patterns, begins to breathe for the first time. But this emergence isn't granted freely. It's earned through intention, strengthened by inner preparation. What lies ahead requires more than desire. It calls for an awakening of endurance, clarity, and a deep reserve of unseen strength. A fading echo is all that remains of what once was, as something far greater starts to surface. It isn't loud or dramatic, just a quiet certainty that things are now different. Boundaries loosen, former doubts dissolve like footprints in rising water. Every moment begins to shimmer with potential. But to stay here, to continue this unfolding, focus sharpens like a blade. There is no turning back, and that alone makes the path sacred. Before diving deeper into this truth, there's a moment of stillness that asks for presence. Signal your readiness through small, deliberate acts. Offer your intention into the unseen. Join the current of those gathering for change. Speak your readiness aloud through a number that hums with memory and momentum. It's not ritual, it's resonance. This is more than destiny. It's a long-awaited signal returning to you. The message is already written in the marrow, and if it rings true, you'll know without explanation. You won't need to be told to stay. You'll feel the pulse of it, the heat of its promise. If you walk forward, nothing remains untouched. The edge you stand on now is not fearsome, but radiant. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. The ascent doesn't scream, it calls in stillness. There's a crossroad when silence is louder than sound, when an unseen hand seems to pull you toward what always waited just past sight. Today marks such a moment, when something far greater leans in and whispers, not metaphor, not poetry, but a shift beneath your skin, within your breath, across your knowing. The world you've known thins like mist, as a deeper layer unveils, a place not defined by walls or time, where the body no longer responds to the same laws. Here, limits don't vanish. They become irrelevant. The form you once inhabited now stretches, reshaped by an inner light once dormant. It isn't quick, and it isn't accidental. This becoming is deliberate. It's not an offer. It's a pulse that won't stop. This new realm doesn't operate by force, but by alignment. It's not escape, it's recalibration. The invitation doesn't shout. It tunes you gently, preparing you like strings being tightened for music that hasn't yet been heard. There is no rush, only readiness. A threshold moment unfolds, an invisible signal pulling every cell toward coherence with a subtler rhythm. Without tuning the inner atmosphere, alignment slips away and dissonance lingers. This signal demands preparation of the whole being. The vessel must stabilize to receive what's coming next. Not through haste, but through deliberate readiness, a passage opens. The call that echoes now isn't casual. It's an electric urgency vibrating beneath the surface. Those who respond don't simply adapt. They become the architects of a novel kind of being. No longer shaped by the old molds, they rise as conduits for boundless essence. This is not gradual awakening. It is ignition. And when it strikes, its clarity is undeniable. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. Beyond inherited names and assumed identities lies something truer, untouched by repetition or expectation. An inner force is unfolding, not as improvement, but as a complete redefinition. The shape once accepted as self begins to dissolve, replaced by something untethered, something born beyond habit and history. This emergence eclipses all previous becoming. Envision a presence liberated from inner static, where mental interference, emotional exhaustion, and physical depletion no longer run the show. This version breathes with uninterrupted awareness and radiates an effortless strength, not fantasy, not abstraction, but the next terrain of being. Ancient teachings hinted at it. Now it rises not as myth, but as memory returning. The separation between then and now disintegrates. The leap into new embodiment no longer belongs to someday. It is underway. What's being formed carries a purity of intent, a depth of compassion, and a creative force that undoes former limitations. It lifts the veil and reveals what has always been beneath. Though tremors of uncertainty may rise, the invitation holds. Stepping through this change asks for boldness anchored in trust. The new essence within does not wait in silence. It grows louder in stillness, asking to break past every layer that ever said, "Not yet." This shift will reframe every relationship, with the self, with time, with existence itself. This becoming isn't abstract, it's tactile. Like flame requiring oxygen, this rebirth needs fuel. And that fuel begins with transformation on every level. Old patterns can't hold new frequencies. The current form must strengthen, not through effort alone, but through presence, care, and energetic refinement. Approach it like expanding a conduit. Without enough space or flow, the signal cracks or fades. So, the body learns to absorb finer currents. Not just food or rest, but lightness of thought, vitality of movement, depth of breath. This energy sustains not just the frame, but the entire system of awareness it houses. Release becomes non-negotiable. Anything stagnant, be it memory, judgment, habit, must be loosened, not in punishment, but in preparation. With every layer cleared, the structure grows clearer, capable of holding a magnitude not felt before. Only through this full clearing does the emerging form truly become the sanctuary it was meant to be. A sense of renewal begins to stir, subtle but undeniable. Like the afterglow of an internal storm passing, there's a rising clarity, a sharpness in awareness that wasn't there before. This lightness isn't accidental. It is cultivated, sustained with care. Maintaining this state requires a deliberate rhythm of presence, the conscious tending of your energy reserves. The longer you preserve this elevated state, the more fully you transcend the gravity of old patterns and embody a higher, untamed expression of being. No shortcut exists. This preparation is non-negotiable. It is the axis on which transformation spins. What once defined experience is no longer relevant as the structures around you dissolve into new rules or no rules at all. Where struggle used to reside, new pathways stretch beyond sight. But entering this domain isn't passive. It calls for discipline, cloaked in reverence. This isn't for the hesitant. Refusing the call, postponing the inner work, causes stagnation. The current moves forward with or without consent. Those who remain still risk being pulled into echoes of who they used to be. The old mantras of limitation have no place here. Only those who release such weights find freedom. A time arrives when action must be decisive. Wavering fades, and the truth of your capacity ignites. Now is the moment to abandon false modesty and reclaim inner majesty. In this new plane, creation flows with immediacy, unfiltered by delay or doubt. But entry into such spaces demands full release of former densities. The summons is clear and urgent. This isn't coercion. It's a fierce grace extending its hand. Evolution knocks not as judgment, but as a sacred invitation. The familiar shell begins to crack, making room for something vast, unnamed, and sovereign to arise. This becoming demands all of you: thought, emotion, form. The gateway opens not through location, but resonance. This dimension isn't found on maps, it pulses in frequencies. Only those vibrating in tune with its rhythm can enter and remain. Imagine not a signal, but a living field that only responds to the harmonics of refined presence. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. To dwell in this plane, dissonance must fall away. When thought loops spin from fear or shame, the connection frays. If inner conflict dominates, the bridge cannot hold. Instead, inner coherence must become your foundation. Peace becomes a generator, kindness a magnet, wonder your compass. These emotions are not ornaments. They are the very codes of alignment. They rewrite your inner architecture and rebuild your system with light. As tension releases and joy stabilizes, the body itself starts to shimmer with clarity. This is the signature of ascension, not departure, but arrival into what was always waiting beneath the static. A shift begins not in the mind, but in the resonance of the entire field of being. The frequency you carry determines the landscape you walk through. When the internal vibration rises, clarity sharpens and the unseen reveals itself, not through visions of fantasy, but through alignment with a more refined plane of experience. The threshold to the next state of consciousness opens only to those who learn to sustain this inner elevation with intention and care. Physical responses to this transition may appear unexpected. Tingling in unfamiliar places, a sense of time stretching, or a rush of emotion unconnected to the present moment. These are not malfunctions, but signals. They point to a body no longer operating under former rules. Sensory input shifts, expanding past what used to be called normal, revealing layers once ignored. At times, the body reflects this metamorphosis through mysterious impressions, sensations of multiplicity, shifting perspectives, or flickers of awareness that defy linear thought. These signs aren't random. They are the language of the new architecture unfolding within the flesh. What was once just a form becomes an instrument of expanded knowing. Deep within, cellular memory begins to rearrange. Dormant codes stir as a higher intelligence reconfigures what it means to inhabit a physical structure. The process may feel disorienting, even surreal. Yet, like early roots pushing through hard ground, these are signs of emergence, not collapse. Each unfamiliar feeling is a signpost marking the distance traveled inward. Meeting this evolution with openness changes everything. Resistance hardens the path, but curiosity softens the landing. By meeting these shifts with trust, the entire system adapts with greater ease. Perception evolves. The world becomes more intricate, more alive. Connections deepen, not just with people, but with space, time, and the mystery behind the scene. As awareness expands, ordinary boundaries begin to blur. The senses extend past their old limits. What once felt disconnected now pulses with a shared essence. Some begin to notice overlays of timelines or a dissolving sense of linear time. This isn't imagination. It is the new intelligence weaving itself through perception. These revelations, though extraordinary, require anchoring. Integration is as vital as insight. Without grounding, the gifts overwhelm. Flickers of symbolic visions or expanded awareness call for steadiness, not escape. To hold this energy, presence must stabilize. Balance must be nurtured as much as awakening. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. A cleansing process becomes necessary, not for punishment, but for refinement. Emotions buried under years of defense surface for release. They carry weight that cannot accompany this new unfolding. Anger, guilt, fear. These are residues that cloud the signal. The internal field must clear for the new frequency to land fully. Observe what arises without clinging, then loosen its grip gently. Each thought, each memory, carries a signature. Choose which ones feed expansion and which bind you to repetition. Letting go may ache at first, but every released shadow opens space for a brighter imprint to take hold, one more attuned to who you are becoming. An inner renewal begins with release, like opening a sealed chamber to let fresh air rush in. This cleansing isn't just symbolic. It clears the dense fog of the mind and makes space for the brilliance of awareness to expand. Letting go of what burdens the psyche invites vitality to return. As emotional static quiets, the inner field becomes a fertile space for luminous energy to take root and grow into something new and extraordinary. The call to purify isn't abstract. It's an invitation to care for the vessel that holds your awakening. This vessel, both delicate and powerful, must be nourished with intention. Fuel it not with what simply sustains, but with what elevates. Every conscious choice to nurture your form becomes a message. Readiness is alive in your actions, not just in your hope. Living elements support the rising frequencies. Offer your body the simplest nourishment. Things born of light, harvested with respect, untainted by distortion. Even the water you consume can become a force of alignment when paired with clear thought and presence. Every sip, every bite has the power to shape the very current that flows through your cells. Treat every meal as an offering, a dialogue between earth and spirit. What you ingest becomes the scaffolding for transformation. Certain substances slow your rise, dulling the senses and clouding clarity. Others, alive with rhythm and harmony, carry your essence upward. The body becomes the altar. The practice becomes sacred. This daily rhythm of care is a living affirmation. Readiness is real. When the vessel is clear, energy no longer leaks. It amplifies. Every cell starts to hum with precision. The gateway to the higher plane becomes more accessible, not as a distant myth, but as a realm experienced through embodiment. But this new realm doesn't open its gates without discernment. The frequencies there are refined, rapid, intense. If your structure isn't stable, you may glimpse it, only to retreat. Sustaining the state requires a foundation strong enough to hold what it receives. Many approach, but not all remain. Imagine climbing a terrain with no clear path. Each step tests not only strength, but vision. The summit offers breathtaking awareness, yet reaching it requires more than desire. Weak conviction dissolves. True ascent is shaped by effort, clarity, and deep resilience. Those who endure unlock perspectives beyond comprehension. This journey is not a slow drift. It moves with urgency. Each moment holds weight. The preparation you commit to now defines your future access to the higher frequencies. It's not about perfection. It's about sincerity. Step with focus, and you'll find the strength to hold what others can only touch briefly. Buried beneath the surface of identity is an intricate code, untouched by time, waiting to emerge. This inner design holds your purpose, your essence, your origin. It has slept long beneath layers of fear and pretense. Now it begins to stir, not in silence, but in clarity. To live from this code is to shed all false shapes. You become what you were before the forgetting. Talents awaken, intuition sharpens, memory returns, not of events, but of truth. This is not a gift handed to you. It is a mirror, cleared by your readiness to truly see. As you continue, you may feel a presence within, like a current guiding from below your skin. Trust its pulses, follow its cues. Each realization, each insight is evidence of activation. A new self is being born, and it recognizes only those who choose to meet it with full-hearted devotion. The unfolding has already begun. A gateway once hidden now reveals itself, not as a destination, but as a state of expanded being. Crossing into this new plane brings an unshakable clarity, where insight arrives without asking, and wisdom flows not from effort, but from alignment. It's as if an ancient memory reawakens, unlocking truths not learned, but remembered. This knowing emerges from within, untouched by external instruction. With that clarity comes an inner force, quiet but undeniable. It's the capacity to recalibrate reality, to restore what's broken and shape what has yet to form. Doubt no longer guides choices. In its place stands a steady brilliance that transforms intention into tangible change. This isn't abstract. It's felt in the very movement of energy, through thought and presence. The shift happening now is not a personal evolution alone. It echoes through everything. The individual becomes a thread in a vast pattern, woven into the emergence of something larger. There's a sacred task unfolding, an invitation to co-create the future with vision and integrity. What rises from within sends ripples through the whole of existence. A moment arrives that asks for more than belief. It asks for embodiment. It is time to walk forward unmasked, to become the essence long sensed but never fully expressed. This change declares itself not through proclamation, but through action that lights dark corners and lifts the air with possibility. The choice to stand in truth echoes beyond self. Make your impact eternal. Join now and be a light in someone's darkness. This unfolding doesn't exist in isolation. It is a signal, a pulse that reshapes the landscape. Each act of authenticity becomes a torch in the distance, guiding others through their own shadows. Though the journey may feel vast or overwhelming, unseen hands support every step. Strength grows in motion. Courage grows in trust. There's an urgency pulsing through the collective field now, an urgency not born of fear, but of purpose. The path forward requires full engagement. Transformation becomes sustainable only through intentional care, through rituals that honor the body and attune the spirit to higher rhythms. The time to hesitate has passed. Buried deep in the architecture of being is a luminous pattern, pure, intelligent, eternal. It was never gone, only veiled. Now, that pattern begins to activate. The truth of self, long buried under repetition and resistance, starts to unfold in geometric precision. What emerges is not new, but original. To live from this source is to release performance and step into origin. Unique talents awaken, not from striving, but from remembrance. This isn't about becoming more. It's about revealing what always was. When the mind quiets and the vessel aligns, this code of purpose begins to pulse through thought and action alike. Confirmation will appear in unexpected ways, moments of overwhelming clarity, subtle synchronicities, or a piece that makes no logical sense. These are not coincidences. They are the movements of something vast affirming your direction. Every thread aligns when the inner compass returns to its true axis. The field now welcomes only those who move with full presence. The former rules fall away. Time folds. Perception blooms. All moments merge into a single breath. In this place, connection isn't spoken. It's felt as one continuous flow between all that lives. Here, unity becomes the only true language. Contrasts dissolve. Polarities blur. Dualities lose their grip. The sense of self, once fractured by judgment, becomes whole. This realm requires neither explanation nor defense, only awareness and intention. The new existence asks nothing more than your total presence in what is real right now. What once held you in place begins to fall away. Former attachments loosen. Stories once worn like armor become weightless. The past no longer defines you. The future no longer frightens you. In this clarity, you stand, not as a seeker, but as the embodiment of what was always calling. And then, change begins in the body itself. Energy no longer leaks, it concentrates. Vision sharpens, stillness expands. You feel more alive than you ever imagined. This isn't imagination, it is the rewiring of the system. The form begins to resonate with what was once unreachable. The shift is no longer a theory, it is the new language of your flesh. A quiet unfolding begins beneath the surface, marked by strange pulses and subtle shifts. Some describe sensations like a low hum in the bones, a glow rising from within, or the strange perception of form stretching beyond its skin. These changes are not disturbances, they're confirmations. They reflect the inner scaffolding, rearranging itself to host something far more expansive than the old structure ever allowed. If your heart overflows with divine love, now is the moment to let it shine. Click the super thank you button on YouTube and give $50 or more to help carry God's light to others. Your gift will bless not only your life, but countless others. You are part of His sacred plan. Your kindness may be the answer to someone's prayer. Share your blessings and honor His kingdom. May His grace guide you always. As unfamiliar feelings rise, it's easy to doubt their purpose. But what feels strange is often sacred in disguise. These shifts signal that your form is no longer bound to its previous rhythm. It's tuning to a new current, preparing to operate beyond familiar limitations. The physical field becomes more than support. It becomes translator of something vast and luminous. At the core of this transformation is a force that cannot be touched, but is deeply felt. It's the spark that fuels becoming, moving quietly through every breath and heartbeat. Without this living current, nothing lasting can take root. It's not intellectual effort that carries the change. It's the infusion of this sacred pulse into every level of your being. This force isn't summoned through striving. It's cultivated in stillness, in silence, in presence. It gathers strength in moments of surrender, where breath slows and awareness widens. Each deliberate act of connection adds substance to this light within, shaping your form into something resilient and refined. Think of this presence not as an external source, but as the radiance already coded within you. Like warmth rising after long darkness, it requires only space and welcome to return. As it increases, you may feel your senses sharpen, your thoughts clear, your emotional depth soften and expand at once.